Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Nicole from Crowdfunder. For obvious reasons, we can't hold our workshops on location at the moment, so we're bringing them to you from our homes straight into your homes. Hopefully, by the end of today's workshop, you'll leave knowing more about crowdfunding and the Active Together Fund to prepare you to crowdfund for your sports organisation. At the end, you'll be sent a link to the Learn platform. There we'll show you how to crowdfund, giving you the tools to raise the money to make your idea happen. So just some quick housekeeping points to let you know before we start. We've allowed about 30 minutes for this session, but it might take more or less than that depending on the chat and any questions that we have. If you do want to ask a question, type it in the chat box to the right of your screen, and we'll try to make sure we get them all answered during the live session. And finally, in case any of you are sitting wondering if anyone else can see you, they can't. You can see us, but we can't see you. So today we're going to hear from one of our crowdfunding coaches, Chloe. We're also going to hear from someone who's crowdfunded before, who's been there, got the t-shirt, and we'll find out what worked and what didn't work in making their campaign a success. So now, without further ado, let me introduce Chloe. So hopefully Chloe's here somewhere. Yeah,
Hi,
hello,
Nicole.
Chloe. Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Really well, thank you.
Good. So firstly, for those here who don't know, can you tell us a little bit more about crowdfunding?
Yeah, of course. So crowdfunding is a great way to raise money and awareness for your organisation by engaging the community. You will create a page on our online platform. You will tell everyone you know and promote it to your crowd, and your supporters will pledge money to help you reach your goal. So we're actually one of the top rewards-based crowdfunding platforms. This means that we offer our projects the chance to add a reward to their page, as well as sort of the standard donation. It encourages more pledges and pledges of a higher value as well. So let me give you a little example. This is Leicestershire Sailing Association. They needed to raise money in order to improve their facilities and make it more accessible for their users with disabilities. They made a fab page, and one of the rewards that they used was a sailing lesson. It was a really popular reward, and as a result, they were able to raise over £11,000 and make the improvements to the facilities.
Fab, that's great. So can you explain a bit more about crowdfund sport and what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a really exciting initiative that we've started. We've joined forces with Sport England and have an aim of helping sports organisations and sports organisations that are struggling because of the coronavirus. We have an amazing £1 million up for grabs as part of the Active Together Fund. So each project can get a maximum of £10,000 from this fund, which is very exciting indeed. So the eligibility criteria means that you need to be a not-for-profit organisation with a focus on bringing sport to the community, and you must be based in England. And actually sport crowdfunds really, really well. And it makes sense as to why. Crowdfunding is all about the community coming together and cheering for a common goal. And I'm sure you'll agree with me, Nicole. I think sport is very similar in that sense.
Very similar, yeah.
So we've included on this page a couple of examples of clubs and organisations that have successfully crowdfunded with us in the past. You'll see absolutely everything from, I think we've got skater hockey on there, rugby, gymnastics, swimming, absolutely everything in the world of sports.
Oh, fab. Thank you, Chloe. That's such a good introduction. So I think we're going to get you back when we've got some questions at the end.
Okay.
So we'll see you again soon. But in the meantime, we have got David here. So hopefully he is here somewhere. David, are you there?
Hopefully, yes.
Yes, I can't see you yet.
Right, let me try that again.
But that could just be me. The joys of working from home.
So I have no idea. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you, yes.
So the video is definitely on. I don't know why. I've just turned it off. I'll turn it. Oh, there we go.
Oh, you were back.
There we go. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Good
Whatever
start.
you did, that's perfect. Just leave it there. That's great. How are you doing, David?
I'm very well today. Thank you. What about yourself?
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Not too bad. Yes, thank you. So your project was Coalporters Rowing Club. Could you tell us a little bit more about your project?
Yeah, well, as you said, we are a rowing club down in Southampton, and a bit like that Leicester Sailing Association you mentioned earlier at the beginning. The club's been expanding over the years, and the memberships got bigger, and more boats were being stored in the same boat shed, and we were simply running out of room. And then we sort of realized that we were next to a bridge, and this bridge had this vacant arch that was a huge potential for storage space. So at that point, we approached Southampton City Council and asked them if they'd let us convert it into a boat store and help alleviate this problem. And they said, yes, that's fine, but that we had to fund it ourselves. So at that point, we approached Sport England and lots of other funders, filled out all the application forms, but it was Sport England and the Community Asset Fund that picked up and said they would help us with this. So that's how I got started.
And so why did you decide to crowdfund the project specifically?
Well, in our case, it wasn't so much that we decided. We'd had half the funding awarded by Sport England, and the condition was that we generate the other halves of the funds that we needed. And, we were probably struggling a little bit doing that. When you think of rowing, you maybe think of Oxford and Cambridge and Henley, and you think, oh, they must be fabulously wealthy and all that.
Yeah.
But that's not our rowing club. We're down in quite a deprived area of Southampton, and we, generally just have about enough money to get by from year to year. So I think to give Sport England their due, they recognized we were struggling, and they said, well, if you guys are prepared to have a go at crowdfunding and take your message out into the community and, get some donations, then we will match whatever donations you get. And basically that was just a phenomenal opportunity for us to be able to raise the other half of the money we needed, get to our target, and then the project could begin. So it was just a great opportunity, really.
And so what difference has it made to your rowing club doing this?
To be honest, the project is still ongoing because, the bridge was it's a public thing that's owned by the council. And there was a lot more complications than we realized to converting a bridge. Like you look at the arch and you think, oh, 2 walls and a roof, all we have to do is put the end walls on and we're done. But it didn't actually work that easily. But the thing that we really noticed was the crowdfunder drew the club together. We identified our target audiences, present members and past members, their family and friends. And, once the word got out, it was amazing how we all unified on this sort of common mission, and people really got enthused and excited and wanted to know, how it was going to go and wanted to get involved. So, that was the big sort of payoff that we never saw coming. Literally, Nick and I, who were running it, just thought, we'll do this for a month, we'll hopefully get our target, and then we'll go on to the next stage of the project. But that really fired it up for everybody and made everybody aware of what we were doing.
So it's had an impact on your project even after it's ended?
Yeah, definitely. So even afterwards, the people who donated had essentially become personally involved, and they wanted to see how it progressed and see it get to completion. So even afterwards, we've been doing little update videos so people are always aware of where we are and what we've been spending the money on and our time on. So, at the end of it as well, there'll be a big party, so they're waiting for that.
Oh, yeah, oh, it's going to be a big party, I'm sure, after everything that's been happening, especially the last couple of months. So did you find anything difficult about crowdfunding? Was there any challenges involved?
Yeah, okay. So for me personally, the whole social media thing was a big challenge, right? So I've never been a Facebooker or Twitter or Instagram or anything like that. And the reality is, once you sort of done the tutorial, you realize that as well as having the crowdfunding website where your video will be and an explanation and people can make donations, a lot of the time you will be on Facebook, putting out messages, repeating the link so people can find the page, and, saying thank you a lot. So we had to get good at Facebook, which I really wasn't. And literally the day after we'd signed up, I got an email from Sammy saying, "Oh, go to my Facebook page and begin the tutorials." I was like, how did I even do that? So at that point, I'd had a massive panic, and I really thought the project was over before it started.
Oh.
And we were done. But I thought, well, no, just give it a go. Try and get on Facebook. And after a few attempts, I'd managed to get in. And then over the days, I learned how to, see the videos, click on links, leave posts, use emojis. And all of that stuff became crucial later on when we were essentially running the campaign. So whatever platform it turns out to be, try and get good on a social media platform. Facebook's very easy in the end. I think the other thing that was slightly hard for us was making the crowdfunding video. Yeah. So even though the final video is only about 2 or 3 minutes long, it took us ages to make. It took about 4 or 5 hours because we were rubbish at saying our lines, and we couldn't walk and talk at the same time. So even that was quite hard, but it was very much worth it in the end. The video is great.
Yeah. And we find that videos are really important to a campaign. So if you can do them and put in that extra bit of effort, they really do help. And what worked best for you, David, in the campaign? What really brought in lots and lots of donations?
Well, I think it was the video. You're absolutely right there. So the great thing about a video is, anybody can click play on a video. And, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words or whatever. Well, a video is that much more powerful. So in the space of 2 minutes, people got to see who the club was, their history, what our problem was, what we thought the solution was in getting the arch, and how they could help. So it's a really quick way to get people involved and hopefully want to donate. So the video was amazing, And then, as you said, during the campaign, video updates, we used to do one every week. And they were a lot easier because we were just ad-libbing. So, we would start by telling people what we were up to on the total, and then thanking people for donating and staying involved, and then have a little bit of a laugh and a chat. So they were much easier. But yeah, the videos were really good. I guess the other thing was for us identifying our target audience. Yeah. So, we'd read the tutorials and it said, you'd maybe get 3 or 4 people out of 100 donating. And we thought, if that's the case, we'll be really stuck. But then we thought, well, what's our biggest resource here? And it was our membership. So present members and past members. And we realized if we could get them involved, and their family and friends, there was a very good chance that we'd get most people who watched the video to donate. So we'd get a much better strike rate, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah, fab. Really good tips there. Thanks, David. And who helped with your campaign? How did you divide that workload?
Okay, so we'd quite a small team, and I think a small team might be a better thing in the end. So up to that point, it was Nick, another club member and a very good friend, and I have been running the project and still do. So we were definitely the sort of core of it because we knew the project inside out, and it was Nick and I were in front of the camera for the video. But although we were happy to do that bit, we aren't techies, as you saw earlier with my attempt to get on the video screen. So we totally didn't have a clue how we'd make a good video, then how we'd upload it onto the internet. So again, we turned to our greatest resource, which is membership, and we sort of hunted around and then thought who could help us here. as it turns out, like, we're affiliated to Solent University. So any member of Solent is also a member of the rowing club. And one of them was Sophie Brown, who was doing a media studies course. So she said she'd help us with the editing of the video, with recording the sound. And then we thought, well, who can we get to do the video? And as luck would have it, Nick's brother, Anthony, has done a lot of PR over the years for various, quite large companies. So he knew what would be good in a video and how to get the message across in 2 or 3 minutes. So he did our videos for us. Now, they look pretty good in some respects, but he did them with a smartphone, so anybody can do them, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing how many people you do have in your wider circle that can do all of those types of things when you really sit down and think about it, or at least somebody you know.
That's it, yes.
And then finally, David, what advice would you give someone about crowdfunding?
Okay, so I had a good think about this, and I've actually written down 5 or 6 things. So forgive me if I forget about them. I'll have to make a piece of paper. But the first one, probably, and the most important one, is do your homework. Okay, so the tutorials are worth their weight in gold. And basically, when we were contacted to do the crowdfunder, we read the letter from Sport England and we totally got the wrong end of the stick. So it said, oh, Crowdfunder will get a fee for doing this. And I thought, oh, great. I'll phone up Crowdfunder, tell them how we want our video, tell them how to run the month, and then where to send the check to at the end. So we totally got that wrong. But the reality is the tutorials will teach you how to design and run your own crowdfunder. So be under no illusions. You'll be doing this for yourself. But Crowdfunder in the background, in the wings, able to give you any support you need at any time, whether that's tech support or, oh, things aren't going so well, what could we do next? So you guys are there holding our hands the whole way through. But yeah, make no mistake, you'll be doing it for yourself, largely by yourself. The other thing was the Crowdfunder video. So it's worth taking a bit of time to make that as best you can, because that will be your way into people buying into the project and donating. So if it captures their imagination in that 2 or 3 minutes and motivates them to donate, it's done its job. And so that's really important, and it's worth spending a bit of time on. As I said earlier, the next thing is probably identifying your target audience. And I understand it's mostly sports clubs that are watching today. So to them, I'd say, your present members, but also your past members as well. Many of them will remember the great times they had at your club and how it changed their life, or, made their sort of future different and better. So draw on that resource. So identify your target audience. Video updates, again, that was great. And also celebrating your milestones. So each week we do a little video and say where we got to and sort of update people and thank them. But also on Facebook, every time we went through another £1,000 or the halfway mark, we do this little mini celebration with, celebratory pictures and thank people, and then remind anybody that hadn't donated yet to get on and use the link below. So, in all your comms, keep putting out that link to the crowdfunder page. So if somebody happens to come across it randomly, click, they're in there, they're in the video before you know it.
Good tip.
And I guess one of the other good tips was to set up your first 10 or 20 donators in advance. And that was a really, really good thing to do. So when we actually launched the project to the membership and to friends and family, there were already some donations that had happened and some comments were left, and people could see the project was already alive and up and running. So that worked really well as well.
I think that's really key, David, that is the kiss of death if a project is on zero and then it goes out to your crowd. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look like it's going to get there. So yeah, having those donations ready to go is so key.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to be the first one. Whoever goes on the website and thinks, oh, nobody else has donated. Am I going to look really foolish being the first one? Is this project really going to take off? So having those first 10 or 15 donations just meant that it was already underway, and people could see, even from the comments that had been left at that point, that, you know, people were getting involved and really keen on this.
Fab. That was amazing, David. Thank you so much. We've actually got a few questions, if you wouldn't mind answering some for us.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, so from John Doris, our first question: how many individual donations did David get? Were they only the club members? What was the average and range of donations?
Okay, so I'm doing this from memory a little bit. I think we had about 210 donations in the end, and, you know, they did vary. So some of them, you know, from some of the junior members of the club, they might have only been 5 or 10 quid, but a couple of people came in with 1 or 2 massive donations, and they were people who weren't even current members. As I said, they were past members who remember it as the best days of their lives down at the rowing club. So we had a couple of £500 donations, which just, you know, 1 minute you're struggling and next minute, that's it. You're really going somewhere again.
Yeah.
So yeah, there wasn't that many donations. As I say, like, I don't know how many views of our website there was, or our web page there were, but, you know, again, we were trying to ensure that everybody who did view it was more likely to donate by being a member. They're more involved. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they've already been really invested in what you do as a club.
Yes.
Okay, our second question from Charlotte Lewis: how did you promote your crowdfunding page? I think you've touched on this a little bit, David, already.
Yeah. So again, it was just about you know, doing the tutorials. So we did look at everything that was suggested. We did go to the newspapers and we did get a newspaper article. We tried the radio and the local TV station, but, you know, just with scheduling, there was nothing they could do for that time. Again, it was just to sort of go to members initially and friends and families of members. But yeah, it was mostly about, there's also a little bit about when you do launch. So we picked a Thursday evening to launch, which was the club's social evening. So we knew the whole club would be there after training for a drink at the bar and a bit of a chat. So we took the opportunity to meet with them face to face and launch it, you know, so they'd go home and they'd think about it or have a look on their phones afterwards. But as I said earlier, we previously gone live on the website at midday that day and had those first crucial 10 or 15 donations. And then after that, it was about keeping in touch with Facebook, doing the video updates so people could have a bit of a laugh and see where it was.
Fab. So your top tip is make sure everyone's had a little drink and then let them know what's going on. Next question from Adam Howard: of those who donated, how many were club members already affiliated to the club and how many were not members?
I'd say the vast majority were members. You know, on the web page, you can see who's donated. So we recognized family names and names of members and friends' names and stuff like that. So I'd say in the case of sports clubs, you'll probably know most of the people that donated, but we were really surprised. Some other rowing clubs that we compete with, members of those rowing clubs have donated as well. And it's like, wow, they want us to succeed as well. Aww. So there were other people, again, who, you know, maybe it was their daughter or their son had rowed at the rowing club and it had changed their life. So even if we didn't recognize their surname at first, we eventually find a connection back to our membership.
I think that's really key. Just going back to what you were talking about before, about getting in touch with newspapers and press and that whole side of things. Sometimes that feels like that's the route to go, but we find time and time again, if it comes from a grassroots, it comes from your inner network and then expands outwards, that's when a project does really well.
Yeah.
And then another question from Adam Howard we've already done that one. Ian Silvera: how much impact did you think the video had in securing community support?
It had the very most impact. It was the thing that really won the day, I would say. And that's why I probably, you know, as I've gone on a bit about the video, and although it takes a while to produce 3 minutes of footage, it takes like maybe 4 or 5 hours. it is well worth it, because literally, as you know, when people are searching on the internet, if they don't find what they want in the first couple of attempts, they'll give up. So for us, it was important to go straight to the page, click on the video, and with very little effort, they've seen what it's about and can invest in it and hopefully donate. So yeah, the videos are everything. And again, you know, as people got involved, they wanted to see how we progressed, and we would do the little video updates, which again were great.
Oh, thank you so much, David. That's been amazing. Absolutely fab. Really appreciate all of your time. It's been really informative. And I think that's everything for questions from now. So we'll say goodbye. Thank you again.
Okay, no worries. And good luck to all the sports clubs that go for it. Wish you the best. And as I say, just do the preparation and it should be fine.
Fab. Thank you, David. So I think we might have had, I don't think we've had any questions in so far, but we'll get Chloe back. If you have any questions, please do send them through. So Chloe, in the meantime, could you talk through stretch targets and how they work? So once a project gets to their initial target, what can they do from there if they've still got time left on their project?
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully we'll see lots of people hitting their initial target. So that first target that you set yourself. If you do hit it, it's not game over. You can absolutely keep funding. So you can set a stretch target. You can write a little note on what you're going to spend that extra money and how it's going to help your organization. And then if you hit that one, you can keep going and keep going. So it's a never-ending process, if you will, of keep adding targets if you hit them.
In terms of the match funding that we're talking about today, of course, your initial target is what that match funding will be based on. So I think that's the key point to talk about today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all based on your initial target.
Yeah, fab. So unless we've got any other questions, we have no questions. So thank you so much, Chloe. What are the next steps for anyone watching any of the project, anybody who wants to get started? What should they do next?
Okay, so hopefully everyone's got a bit of a better understanding on crowdfunding and how it might benefit your organisation. But now it's your chance to actually become an expert and really get into the ins and outs of planning, creating and running your campaign. So we have created a brand new learning platform, Crowdfund Sport Learn, which you will be directed to in the chat box, this side, I think. And go on there and you can get started and be taken through the whole process step by step.
Oh, fab. We might have had some questions come in. Let me just have a check. Bear with. It'd be good to answer them while we're here, wouldn't it?
Sure.
Okay, we've got one from Simon Fairhall. Do you have to reach the target for matching? So I think that means, do you have to reach the target for match funding?
Yeah, so you do need to hit your initial target in order to get the match funding from Sport England. You do not have to hit your stretch target. So if you go past that initial target, add on a stretch target, you will keep everything you raise on top of that and it won't affect the match funding at all.
Fab. And we've had another question from Ali Wills. Any top tips on what not to do? Experience of where things haven't worked?
What not to do?
That's a good question.
I'm always talking about what to do.
Yeah, me too. So I think one of the key things, just going back to what David said earlier, was that we sometimes hear this, don't we, Chloe, that sometimes people talk about, oh, I've got a celebrity tweet lined up. I've got a big newspaper that are going to do an article on the project. in day 2. So I'm not worried. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to wait for the pledges to come in when that article goes out, when that tweet goes out. I'm sure you've heard that, things like that.
Yeah, you're completely right. I suppose that's what not to do. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yes, those things are all fantastic additions to a campaign, but don't just rely on it. Sometimes it might work, but you're better off really planning and really putting that effort in. It is hard work, but it does pay off.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that is everything now. I think that's all of our questions. So thank you so much, Chloe, and also to David. Please do follow the link to the Learn platform to take the next step in your crowdfunding journey. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and take care.